The Great Battle of Vimy Ridge. When was it? It was in the year 1917, on April 9th to April 12th. Who was involved? In the Battle of Vimy Ridge, the three countries involved were Canada, our homeland, Britain, the founding country of Canada, and Germany, the enemy at the time. Why was it important? Vimy Ridge was a particularly important tactical feature. The capture of Vimy Ridge by the Canadian Armed Forces and the British was essential for the British Third Army to advance. The British Third Army needed this land to scout out the German attacks and defences in the area in 1918. The Battle of Vimy Ridge is important to all Canadians today, because the win gives us another cause to look back at the bravery and sacrifice of our ancestors. How did they prepare themselves? The Canadians took great thought and preparation for their attack. They created an exact replica of the battlefield for even the lowest level soldiers to memorize and train with the attack plan. Many trench raids were completed to gather information on the enemy defense leading up to the attack. Large trench systems were made to allow troops, supplies, and the injured to move through the lines back to their enemy camp while staying out of sight of the German enemy. Why the war broke out? The war broke out when the Germans attacked Vimy Ridge in 1916, so it was a local attack on the Western Front during World War I. The Germans intended to stop mines being blown underneath German positions by taking the British front line and blocking off their mine gallery entrance. With the placement of the trenches, the British on the downslope only had to dig horizontally to get out of the Germans' fire, when the Germans on the steeper upper slope had to dig down before digging horizontally to get out of the British fire. The Germans' disadvantage was made worse with the lack of manpower and mining equipment. The Germans attacked May 21st, 1916, and managed to reach their objectives and capture the British land before the British could come back with a powerful enough counterattack to retrieve their land. In this, the Germans suffered 1,344 casualties, when the British suffered 2,475. The British plan to attack the Germans was revoked because of the need for men. Many French divisions attacked the Germans at Vimy Ridge but undoubtedly failed. The Canadians started their attack 1 year after the Germans on April 9th, 1917, and ended it on April 12th, 1917. With success, they attacked to retrieve the land that the Germans took by force. They also did this so that the British Third Army could scout out the enemy lines in the following year. How did it play out? The Battle of Vimy Ridge was a short 3-day war, from April 9th, 1917 to April 12th. It was a one-way battle for the Canadians. They didn't retreat once. They first destroyed the Germans' big artillery guns. They used different placements of soldiers to see where the big flashing bangs were coming from, so that they could get an idea of where the big artillery was. Then they sent foot soldiers in a mad dash into the enemy trenches. The Canadians won this battle. Troops killed. In the Battle of Vimy Ridge alone, there were 3,598 Canadian soldiers killed and 7,000 left wounded. There was an estimated 20,000 casualties on the German side. Weapons used. The weapons used were military-grade rifles with bayonets, grenades, 7 types, underground mines usually placed during the raids, artillery, the type that Germans got destroyed by the British and Canadians, mortars, smaller artillery, less powerful, but were able to be fitted into trenches and be able to be moved with a lot of effort, but not too much that they would be stuck there. Machine guns, which were fast and powerful, but not accurate. Poison gas, also known as a dirtball move, because the attackers were too afraid to risk their lives. The poison gas was invented by the Germans in the First World War, and the British found out that if they covered handkerchiefs in pee and put it across their mouth, they would be able to survive. Tanks and any armored vehicle that could make it through the mud and around the trenches. How do we remember them today? We remember them today by the Vimy Ridge Memorial that was built on the land of the battlefield at the highest point. We remember them each year on April 12th for a memorial service at Vimy Ridge Memorial located in France. And we remember them on November the 11th on Remembrance Day, along with all the other soldiers of the war and World War II. Another way that we remember the fallen is the Vimy Gala in Ottawa, Ontario. This year, the gala was hosted on Friday the 8th of November 2019. This year was the 29th annual Vimy Gala. The first governing of the Conference of Defense of Associations was on November the 18th, 1932, with Chairman Colonel the Honorable, also known as M. Justice John A. Hope, Colonel the Honorable George A. Drew, General the Honorable Andrew J. L. McNaughton, and Brigadier A. Warwick Beamont. The Conference of 2020 is going to be held on March 4th and 5th, and it will be called the Ottawa Conference of Security and Defense, along with the Vimy Gala in November. The Vimy Award is given out every year. This award was established in 1991. The Vimy Award annually recognizes a Canadian who has made a significant and outstanding contribution to the defense and security of our country. This award is usually presented as a Lifetime Achievement Award. The award honors bravery and sacrifice of our Canadian soldiers, comprising of the 4 divisions of the Canadian Corps that was victorious in the Battle of Vimy Ridge. The committee that decides who receives the award consists of Chief Justice of Supreme Court of Canada and the Chief of Defense Staff on the Canadian Armed Forces, as well as industry and academic partners of the CDA Institute and members of the Board of Directors. The sponsors of this year's Vimy Gala were Babcock, Maxi Staffing Consulting, Pratt & Whitney Dependable Engines, Accenture, Airbus, Commissionaires Ottawa, David Pratt & Associates, General Dynamics, IBM, Irving Shipbuilding, Canadian Legion, Seaspan Shipyards, and Cyber Defense Corporation. There are many levels that these companies can sponsor. They can be the main sponsor that sponsors the Vimy Award. They can be a receptionist sponsor, which was Babcock this year. They could be a silver sponsor. They could be a bronze sponsor. They could be a gold sponsor. And there are many other sponsors that they could be. This shows how much we care about the Canadian Army and what they did in the Battle of Vimy Ridge. Thanks for watching. I hope you came out with more than what you came in with.